You're listening to The Burning Truth. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dude and dudettes. I am your host, Matt Burns, and with me this week, as he has always been, to my right-hand side, is none other than John Ballore.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Just to point out, if anybody was just possibly checking out our social media page and probably seeing a few messages stating we were live a few minutes ago, and we're live again today, there was a slight hiccup with technology, so just to make you aware, hopefully that's the post that was originally stating that we were live, where it was just only on for a second. Nope, that's not the case. We are live now. This is a full episode, and
technical gremlins, but we hope we've squashed them all now. So yeah, this is us as we should be. We are live. We're good to go, and well, haven't we ever got a lot to talk about this week?
No kidding. And let's just get some disclaimers out the way.
Oh, absolutely. Right, disclaimer. Oh, do you want me to do the usual one, or is it a bit too serious for that?
It's a bit too serious for this week. I've got a bit of a special one for this week that is only going to be most likely used for this week as well. Yes, we have got the audio disclaimer that we are going to be throwing out. And yes, I am going to be potentially throwing in the gag that JB usually throws in, but there is going to be an additional disclaimer on this episode as well. Right, so the following episode will have language that may be unsuitable for younger listeners and certain tones and language that some others may find offensive. Audio listeners, you have been warned. So if you are underage and find adult language unsuitable, please be audio discretion is heavily advised, and as always, strobe lighting effect maybe in this episode. That is probably going to be one of the rare few non-serious comments on this episode. And also, another disclaimer is that this episode may contain a lot of rants. And most of the discussions that we are going to be having are going to be the opinions of the Burning Truth, which we are entitled to. So of myself and potentially JB.
Yeah, so it'll be our opinions, but as I think you're about to state, not necessarily the opinions of anyone we are talking about, any organisation we're talking about, or anyone but us, quite frankly. So please don't take them as such.
Yes, correct. And and on top of that, it's going to be a bit of an unusual one, because normally I know a lot of people saying, you have a lot of soapbox episodes. This one is a very heavy soapbox episode.
Yeah, for anyone who's been following the news recently over the last week since we were last on air, I think you know why, to be honest.
You may very well know why. However, we have got a lot to discuss. I'll leave the first topic off. That will only be it'll be not too well. It's more of a tribute as such, because we've got paid tribute to a legend of an absolute legend of the wrestling world. On top of that, we've got to discuss in regards to certain comments made by someone who's classified as a part-timer. And then essentially moving on to the grounds of how WWE is still continuing on, which there may be a few unofficial comments, a few theories, so there may be certain areas where we need to have a pinch of salt and and not take it as fact.
Yeah. only working on what we've heard over the internet. So obviously, if it's on multiple internet sources, we can only assume that it is as accurate as it can be if it's, across several sites all at once. But we can't actually underline the veracity of it. So we are just reporting on what we've heard. We can't say they're 100% facts.
Correct. And on top of that, we've got to discuss some of the details of the Revival's new names, and of course their new tag team name as such, and also discuss in regards to what was Vince's plan for them while keeping them under the contract before leaving. And oh boy.
Yeah, I've just seen that. And let's just say, oh boy is a very polite understatement.
Yeah. And then we've got to get on to the major point of it, which is going to be mostly in discussion of WWE and what they've been doing massively recently. And believe me when I say this, I am quite shocked by what they've been doing. And there is rumours on the potential reasoning behind it, which if there is, oh good lord. Oh, good lord. It gets worse.
So without further ado, that's a lot of heavy stuff to be getting on with, but we need to get on with it. So.
Yes, we do. And then the last subject after that is potentially talking about the Money in the Bank match that's going to be occurring at Money in the Bank. Right, now that's just the introduction.
Good lord, we've got a lot to deal with. Right,
let's get on to in regards to paying homage and respect straight away. Absolutely. Because, simply put, unfortunately this week, the wrestling world lost an absolute legend for, in wrestling. The legendary ring announcer, none other than Howard Finkel, also known as The Fink. The man who was massively iconic of stating, "And you!"
The man who was perhaps our generation's one and only announcer, and who perhaps you, if you're a younger viewer, might still be aware of, thanks to the efforts of one CM Punk.
Yeah, and
who got him back long after he'd officially retired to announce when he won the world title that time.
Yeah, and legitimately, it's to put it into words, it is massively unfortunate that we have lost the Fink.
It's just tragedy on tragedy in these unprecedentedly sad times.
As for the reason of his passing, we don't know, unfortunately. However, we do send massive condolences to his friends, his family, his co-workers, and anyone who knew him. Who
absolutely.
Was close to him. Yeah. So with that, we are going to do a 5-bell salute right now for him. So during this time, we are going to be quite silent. So we are going to do the 5-bell salute starting now. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for bearing with us during that moment of doing the 5-bell salute. I know.
Apologies if you got mind-bending amounts of feedback from that, but over and above that, rest in peace, Howard Finkel.
couldn't have said it better myself. And in regards to that, it is massively it's just unfortunate during these times. Also, just to point out, if there is any certain background noise that we're hearing at the moment in time, that is due to the nature of what is currently due to the current pandemic that is currently ongoing, which is going to be potentially possibly one of the major reasons why the major subject of this week's episode is most likely occurring.
Yes. Right. The major subject of this week's episode, of course, being, I think we should mention it because we haven't yet, the fact that there's a major wrestling company in the world that's trying to continue to produce wrestling shows without any wrestlers. Or at least that's how it seems if you scratch the surface.
Yeah. To put it on but before we get to that, we've got to discuss some certain topics, some potential old topics.
All right.
That might have been from the previous weeks that we didn't have time for on the previous episodes because we thought, hey, we're not going to be that busy next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a quiet week next week. Not a great deal will happen. We'll be fine.
That word
shows
quiet.
What we know.
You said the word quiet, didn't you? You cursed us, didn't you? Right. Anyway, let's get down to business. We've got to get straight on to it, which is we've got to speak in regards to Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'd rather not kick this particular hornet's nest, but in the interest of the fact that it happened and the fact that we talk about stuff that's happened in the world of wrestling, we have to, unfortunately. So let's tread as carefully as we can.
Right. Basically, Ronda Rousey has hinted that she may never come back to WWE, and the fact that I believe this. I'm not saying her exact words.
The words which were quoted and credited to her, which may or may not be her exact words. I don't think we'll ever know for sure.
No, they have been released, but unfortunately I don't have them to hand right now.
The to the effect of that if she came back, it would be on a Brock Lesnar schedule because she's not willing to work full time, is basically the gist of what I heard she said. But again, that's just claimed from internet sources. That's not directly from an interview from her. So
correct.
I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what some of the internet is saying.
And something in regards to stuff the fans, they don't have respect.
The kind of thoughtless mouth fart that if she has said it, and of course we have no proof that she has, you would think that she'd know better than to say something like that.
Right, now one or two things are either in regards to this, either this is part of a storyline, or if that is genuinely how she feels, then
Tara, don't hurry back.
Don't hurry back. You basically entered the wrong business. And lo and behold, someone's bit.
Of course, this is an industry full of people who are, they entertain us with storylines like this. So when a real world one happens, you just knew someone was going to bite.
Well, I'll get into regards to the person who bit after I mentioned the other person who had beef potentially with her directly, which is none other than Nia. Well, it wasn't mentioned directly by somebody, but someone does have beef with her. They hinted towards her. The information that we are in regards to was mostly it involves one person being upset that Alexa Bliss was being bullied, damaged, and hurt to a massive angle and thrown around like a rag doll. And that Alexa Bliss was just going, no, I'm fine, I'll push through, it's for the business. And this one person says, no, wait, it's not right, and put it in the plate and stated, stop giving Alexa Bliss this person, she's getting damn well hurt, give it to me, I'm big enough, I can take it.
Which, doesn't bode well for this person. It doesn't bode well for the person who said that either, because, talk about possibly sticking your nose in where... I mean, fair enough, you want to stick up for your co-workers, but...
And would you believe who it is?
Yeah.
The returning Nia Jax. The returning
It's,
Nia Jax.
Yeah, who has put out many social media posts
Aimed
which has
at-
been verified to the effect of come back with that attitude, missus, and you will regret it, except far less polite than that.
Potentially. But the thing is, as much as you could say that, it's an awkward one because a lot of people can turn around saying, yeah, she's got no right to say that. But at the same time, if someone is being genuinely hurt, then something, and someone needs to step in, as much as you can turn around and say, mind your own business, at the same time, why is that person suffering in silence?
Yes. You
comes into
need
play.
to know both sides before you jump into anything, especially something as potentially serious as this. Absolutely.
Now, moving on that aside, anyway, she's basically made her statements. That I believe that Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax have been going back and forth on Twitter.
I believe so. I haven't got into the depths of it because, frankly, it's something. It's, as I said, alluded to earlier, it's a hornet's nest that we really don't want to kick.
Correct. And however, in regards to that, we'll step away from the Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey arguments and move into the person who bit at the comments of Ronda Rousey and literally stated words to effect, "There's the door. You've shown your arse. Get the F out."
Hang on. Somebody actually said that. Somebody reacted worse than Nia Jax. Blimey.
Pretty much.
I was not aware of this. I've only seen Nia Jax's comments, which I thought, frankly, were a little bit rushed and ill-conceived enough. So someone else, is it a current WWE superstar that said that?
When I mention who it is, you'll know why.
Is it someone who might possibly be related to Nia Jax by any chance?
No, it isn't.
Oh, okay.
It's basically someone who has worked for WWE. I'm not sure if he's working there anymore at the moment, but has got a legendary history with WWE and is notorious for going on long rambles and rants and has a massive hatred of Vince Russo.
Oh, right. Is that a tennis racket I see galloping over the horizon?
Pretty much. You can see a tennis racket galloping over, none other than Jim Cornette. I believe the comments...
A man never short of a controversial opinion.
I believe his comments were, right, okay, we understand that, you're making out you're a top superstar as such. Yeah. We understand that you're firing off stating that you're like Brock, you won't be on Brock Lesnar's contract. Last time I checked, honey, Brock Lesnar was working his arse off in the wrestling business, making a name for himself in the business, and transitioned over to MMA and made an even bigger name. Where with yourself, you're doing the opposite effect. You made yourself a name in UFC, and then tried to come over here to make some extra cash. And now because you're not, you don't put the grind in, you don't like the smell of roses isn't is as appealing anymore. You want to just sack it and just do a runner.
Harsh words. In light of what Rousey is alleged to have said, possibly justified, was not our place to say because we don't know the whole story.
Potentially.
But incredibly... pretty much up to the standard you'd expect from Jim Cornette.
Yeah, basically, you're showing your true colours along them lines of there's a door. If you want out,
see ya. No one's stopping.
See ya. Get lost. The fact that you already bitch and complain of making a few dates. You're not even doing the full. You're not even doing the full tour dates. So in actual fact, you're already a part-timer and you're whining. Somebody who's come in as a part-timer, debuted at WrestleMania. I think you had it going good. And
you really don't have any concept of what someone who started at the bottom and who had to probably, let's say, work 3 years training before they even got on NXT, another 2 on NXT, then they got the main roster, and then 5 years down the line, maybe they're at the level that you started at. Go talk to them about hard work and it not being fair.
Potentially, but that's from Jim Cornette's side of it.
No, that's what Jim Cornette is basically saying. Again, we don't know.
Just to point out, we're not putting words into Jim Cornette's mouth either.
We don't need to. He's more than capable of doing it himself.
Definitely.
And he's probably, to be brutally honest, far more succinct and practiced at saying exactly what he thinks than either of us. So,
good Lord.
We wouldn't assume to know what he's thinking, but we can fairly safely say he's angry, and in his mind, justifiably so.
Yeah, if the statements are true, then Ronda's probably shown a lot of disrespect. If it's part of an angle, then hats off.
Then, yeah, it's top work because it's fooled all of us, which is exactly what angles are supposed to do, and in this multimedia internet age, so very rarely do anymore.
Correct. And, it's like in regards to what Edge said on his WWE24 show, because of the internet, there is no real surprises.
No. I, for one, will be about as surprised as I ever possibly can be with wrestling anymore in the internet age, if it does turn out to be part of a storyline. But this is wrestling. Never say never.
Never say never. But anyway, we've got that out of the way in regards to Ronda Rousey. And you think... And let's just say this. That's a minute part of what we've got to rant about.
Yes. That is literally like 3% of today's show.
I'd say even 1.
Wow. What are we doing next? Does it involve a certain tag team?
I believe we'll mention the tag team first, before we get on to the nitty-gritty, because this is a bit more disappointment and light-heart, and some good stuff as well. Right. Yeah. The Revival.
Yes.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may or may not know, the Revival have actually left. They got released by... They actually opted to get released by WWE. Now, the Revival could be part of in regards to the mass releases, but it was way before then, and in regards to that, but we'll get to the mass releases shortly. But anyway, the Revival have left. They moved on. They've already got a name changes. They've even got some merchandise on sale, which, if you haven't seen it, my God, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Is it as good as the before they mended the fences and came back, as they were then forced to become Team 3D merchandise before that in WWE, Dudley Boys went to TNA and were told under no uncertain terms they couldn't use the name Dudley Boys because WWE had the trademark on it.
Oh, no.
Is it a bit like that? Because I believe that they had a skeletal middle finger of the kind that Steve Austin would have been proud, with the words "trademark this" written around it in massive letters.
Nope, not like that. But more subtle and also referencing a bit of Marvel.
Oh, well, there you go. I have heard that the name that they might have changed because of a copyright they've taken out might very well be The Revolt, hence they can still use #FTR because it still starts with an R. See what they did there.
Correct. And I actually know what the F's going to be standing for as well.
I'll give you a clue, fans of family-friendly language. It ain't forever.
Correct. But anyway, and it's not FUCK either.
It's not French Connection United Kingdom, the popular fashion house.
But anyway, let's just keep pushing on. The t-shirt I'm in regards to is them. They've actually had some professional photos done in gear that is very similar to what they were wearing while under contract for WWE. Notice the words he used.
Very similar, but not identical.
Not identical. And it looks like someone has done the click. The finger click. In case anyone wants to know what we are referring to. Just look up Thanos.
Yes.
Basically, it looks like Dash and Dawson are dusting away.
I see.
So, in actual fact, it's an interesting concept. Now, in case anybody wants to know what their new names are, right, here are the new names. As you stated, the Revolt. Yes, it is. And in case you want to know what the FTR now stands for, it stands for Fear the Revolt.
Yes. Which leads to my suggestion, gaining more water that I mentioned to you, I believe off. I don't know if I mentioned it on air after last week's show, or if it on air on last week's show, or off air afterwards. But the Revolt, Fear the Revolt, they're getting lined up if they do join AEW to be the enforcers for a certain Exalted One, aren't they?
It's a possibility. And you actually did state that off air, I believe.
No. I wasn't sure, but yeah.
But when it comes round to that, if they do, he could actually turn around and give me a big, massive fat "I told you so," and go into discussion about it.
Yes.
But anyway, the names.
The names, yeah.
The names for Dash Wilder, he will be formerly known as Cash Wheeler,
because his real name is Wheeler.
His surname is Wheeler.
I believe, yes.
And Scott Dawson is following and keeping in his surname, his real life surname involved in his wrestling name, but he'll be now known as Dax Hardwood. Hardwood.
Yes.
Not Hardwood.
No, only one D, and it's at the end. Harwood.
Correct.
Oh, dear me.
Right, that's the names out the way.
Oh, well, no, not quite. We still have something else to do with the Revolt/Revival.
Go on.
Have you seen the photos that are going round of one of the reasons that may or may not be why they decided to leave?
I was getting to that. I was just stating, as the names out the way, let's get on to what supposedly Vince's plan for them before they left. Oh, good Lord.
I think the correct technical term is the bastard love child of the Sultan and Aldo Montoya. With a hint of, you will never take us seriously again.
And possibly one half of Public Enemy?
Very possibly. I think that they were in such... well, put it this way. If these revealed as potentially new gimmick costumes for said Revival are even remotely true, my God, they were in someone's bad books.
Basically, it wasn't just because they were in bad books. Do you know why they were doing it?
Why?
Because they knew that they were leaving, and they wanted to basically put them through the floor.
Yeah, they wanted to massively lower their value to make it less likely that they'll show up somewhere else.
Correct. And, would WWE be that petty?
Yes, they would. In a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yes, they would, because if I remember, didn't they have a angle for, a certain Moxley, who was formerly known as Dean Ambrose, was rumoured to be in an angle with Nia Jax where she beats the crap out of him?
Which he quite rightly said, not on your life too.
Yeah.
But, yeah. At least when they made Primo and Epico into bullfighters, they gave them a bit of dignity of hiding them behind masks. I mean, we knew who they were anyway, but,
Well, they weren't exactly released straight to... We'll get to them later.
The Matadors, or whatever it was.
I remember the Matadors. The difference is that was still workable. Now, the issue with this is if they did it, they would have assumed, oh, look at this. They're worthless. They're nothing. And having a big, massive clock on their chest saying, Shatter Machine!
What's that rapper called who wears a massive clock around his neck?
One half of Public Enemy.
Yes. Him, yeah. But yeah, it's basically an attempt that a case of the management going, we have no faith in you, and therefore we want you to basically show your subservience by doing something that will ruin your wrestling career forever.
Basically, childish antics.
Yeah, which is, if they are genuine, it explains why A, the Revival said not on your life, and B, why they left at the first available opportunity. But I have to stress if they are true, because somebody's either spent a lot of needless time on Photoshop making these just to try and make WWE look bad, or they're genuine. We can't honestly say which is which, but they're pretty horrific.
And by the way, the MC that you were referring to is none other than Flavor Flav.
Yes, thank you. I knew of him. I know he wears a big clock around his neck, but could I remember his name? No, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it just seems absolutely childish and ridiculous. And do you know what makes it even worse?
What?
Why did they stop
Why did they stop what?
with the plan?
Because it was made apparent to them that they weren't going to sign a new contract, and so they basically said, right, we're not doing that, we're not doing anything, sit at home.
No,
Go away.
actually, if they had done that, WWE had the right to sue them.
If they had done what?
Said no.
Really?
They would have had to have done it if they were told. Management put a stop to it.
What do you mean? They would not have had the right to... They would not have sued them if they hadn't done exactly what they asked.
Pretty much.
No. Nobody
True.
in this day and age signs a contract that says you do exactly what we ask, however ridiculous, or we can sue you. No.
Here's the thing. Dash and Wilder didn't refuse it. That's the weird thing.
They probably just tried to pretend it didn't happen.
Nope. They were okay with it. In fact, rumour has it.
All right.
Simply,
probably simply because they already knew they were leaving and they didn't care.
And no. Oh, no. There was a possible another reason why.
What was that?
Management ended up putting a bit of a stop to this. Don't know who, but she just said, nope, zip it in the bud. We're not doing it. Send them home. We don't use them. Basically, let them run out their contracts.
Yes.
That was their best method, being petty. Now, if they had gone ahead with this, how much of a backlash would they have had?
What, WWE?
Yeah.
Fairly substantial, which is probably why the cooler-headed management that said send them home is probably, if there's any justice in the world, being hailed as, you know, the one that made the sensible decision about now. Because, imagine, just for the sake of it, that the Revival had gone through with this. Come out, done exactly what they were asked, made absolute idiots of themselves, and because, as we know, the WWE fans like to do things that Vince McMahon don't like them to do in what he perceives as annoying them for the sake of being contrary, they'd have got over even more. And then what would WWE have done?
And if they got over more, and then go, all right, we're off. See you later. So then they got more value. So if they got more value and they jump over to AEW, oh dear.
Gimmicks off and in the trash can, women's championship style, and their stock is through the roof before they've even done anything in AEW, potentially.
Basically.
Yeah, so it would have massively backfired, which is probably why it got parked.
But then again...
And because it's ludicrous and petty.
But then again, by sending them home, they might have done a little bit of the same thing, but not to the level of if they made them... If they were that petty.
Essentially, WWE were in a no-win situation, but they've mitigated it as much as they could by just sending them home and just telling them to sit out their contract.
Pretty much.
I think.
Pretty much. But anyway, basically, keep an eye out on the radar for the Revolt.
In possibly AEW or possibly not, but...
Which will be 90, I believe, 90 days?
I was going to say 90 days, so we're looking at the end of June, probably.
But here's the thing, it might not be till the end of June, it could be even further depending on in regards to AEW with their recordings. And
yeah,
yes,
it'll be the end of June at the earliest, but as we say, we don't know when. Recordings will reconvene, when everything will get back to as close to normal as it can. You know, a lot is
potentially,
up in the air right now.
potentially. However, they will be able to do possible recordings in regards to the next subject that we're going to be discussing,
Okay, which is
which is in regards to Florida.
Florida. Oh, yes. The
Right.
state of Florida, which has been interesting.
Massively. Now, Florida just recently did do an announcement of a stay-home order for all non-essential businesses.
Yes. Which,
And at which point, I believe AEW even had some suits coming down and some people coming down trying to put an end to their show, of their recordings, and they say, listen, this is the only day we're doing it, and we're getting as much as we can done in one hit, while also having to peer over their shoulders. Now, at the same time, WWE have also been having to look over their shoulders as well, because of the stay-home order.
except all of a sudden now they're not.
No. We'll get to that bit in a minute.
Oh, you mean there's more to it before we get to that?
We'll get to it.
If
in
the
a
plot
bit.
wasn't thick enough.
All I'll just say is Vince McMahon was told that, he was able to do as many recordings. Right?
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, that whole situation ended up changing because of the change in Florida, in a ruling in Florida, which made WWE, wrestling, more so WWE, classified it as essential business.
WWE, an essential business in a lockdown.
No. Wrestling
Wrestling is exempt, and because WWE operates in Florida. The fact that AEW do as well is just an unfortunate side effect. They didn't want that, but it's a bonus for us fans. But no, of course, WWE would have rather that AEW were based somewhere else so that it didn't affect their main competition as well. But hey, if you get eggs, you have to suck them. Frankly, it is what it is.
Now, there's a little bit of an issue in regards to this, because there's going to be, how do we say this? There's rumour, there's speculation, politicking, and, conspiracy theories.
There is a fairly well-confirmed story that Vince McMahon himself is now some form of special advisor.
We'll get to
president.
that. No, not yet. That's not yet.
Oh, well, okay. Jeez, right. Okay, just go through it in order. We'll get there.
We'll get it in order. Right. Rumor has it that the issue is when they were announced as essential, Vince McMahon before that was panicking because of a certain issue that he was currently facing with doing pre-records, which is that his contract to Fox, I believe, is it Fox in USA?
I believe that the contract is with the USA Network. Yeah, and it's SmackDown's now on Fox, isn't it? Yeah.
That they can only have so many episodes pre-recorded. Oh dear. And that they can potentially change said deal if they do too many recordings. Vince makes a change and says, we're going to keep being live, which is putting them at risk. Now, originally, the rumours were, Vince has been told this, there and then, which caused a lot of people to be upset, stating, you're putting us at risk. A hotel's been booked and everything. Well, in the meantime, at that time, literally just before Vince made that announcement, Florida made a change to their rules, which is they went from wrestling isn't essential to wrestling is essential. Now, here's where the hearsay and
Yeah, where the facts start to blur and we're really not sure if this is the truth or if it's just something someone said to stir the pot starts to come into play. Like you say, the edges start to blur a little bit at this point.
A little bit at this point, because especially the fact of the information that's been provided. Now, Donald Trump has got a massive campaign going on at the moment, which is being run by an advisor, which is in regards to try and help him stay in power and help fund certain states by sending over a lot of money to certain said states. Now, who would be running something like that? That would be sending money to, sending a big chunk of money to Florida.
Well, I'd imagine the governor of Florida.
Nope.
Oh, is this what I nearly spoiled about 3 minutes ago?
Oh, no. Who is on Donald Trump's advisory team at the moment in time, sending the money over? It would be none other than Linda McMahon.
Oh, yeah, who has worked behind the scenes for...
Oh, wait.
Him for a
Linda
while.
McMahon.
Where's that name familiar? Hang on, where have I heard her? Where have I heard that name before? No, I know what you're thinking at home. Linda, it's quite a common name. Stop it. Now is not the time for that kind of humour. Seriously, this is a serious situation.
Correct, the surname. McMahon. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Linda McMahon is the wife of Vince McMahon.
Who, as suggested about 3 or 4 minutes ago, may or may not have some, officially unofficial special advisor position within the Trump administration.
No, she does.
To be honest, no, Vince does as well, as far as I'm aware. I've seen reports saying he has. I haven't seen any saying that said previous reports that he does are in fact lies. So
we'll get to that.
I don't know if he does or not, but either way, if he does, it's because of his wife, who is, it's a fact, she works for Trump, and might that have had something to do with the decision?
It may have possibly, but could that have stopped there? Could it have stopped? No, it didn't, because supposedly,
but it didn't.
Supposedly, Donald Trump himself has released a statement, which is, I believe, some of the words to that effect was the great Vince McMahon.
As if the guy needs his ego stroking anymore.
Was being brought in to help Trump to help rebuild the US, the US economy.
This is Donald Trump, by the way, who apparently approves of people protesting to end the lockdown, which, to me, I say apparently because he's done nothing to deny it, but it would seem immensely stupid if that is the case.
Now, Vince isn't the only one who's involved in this, in the rebuild of the in the rebuild of the US when it reopens.
No.
Dana White is as well. Now, why would Dana White?
Now, can you think of any other situation other than a national emergency in which two people who are basically fighting for the same entertainment dollar of the American public as Dana White and Vince McMahon would possibly be on the same page? Because I can't.
Well, they are.
And this they are, however, yeah. Quite
Supposedly.
Right.
Supposedly. Notice the words I used, I added there. Supposedly. Now, the issue I have with this is if this is all true, then this can lead to a lot of favoritism and quite a bit of, how do we say, a lot of favoritism from a president who is potentially giving certain, liberties to certain rules and regulations, which is not great if it's all true. If it is half-truths and Vince is helping out and is genuinely helping out, then fair enough. I'm all for it if he's helping out in a massive way. Now, the question is Vince's, Vince's mindset in regards to trying to help the company comes into question in regards to the following subject that we're going to be talking about.
Yes, we will mention it as what's the word? Subjectively, as opinion free as we possibly can. We'll just present the facts and or rumours to the best of our knowledge as we know them, and leave you to form your own opinions. But yeah, hardly subjective, I think, is the correct terminology for this one.
Right, but anyway, the point being is, a lot of people are making accusations of WWE may not be, you know, or not may not be the most professional businessmen, but they are they certainly know how to play the political game.
Oh
There's
yeah, just a bit.
accusations being thrown around. If it is true, then fair enough. They certainly know how to play the political side, the political business. If it isn't, then fair enough. Then it's all wild accusations after accusations that could be which WWE could use their potentially in regards to.
WWE could potentially use these accusations to their advantage, but they could equally be damaging if they're not. If they're too wild and they're not managed. It's a dangerous a place to be in.
Correct. Now, let's get on to the main part of the subject.
Yeah, wow, we're only just now hitting the main part. You see why we had to do this week. This is far, far, far too big to ignore.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is in regards to WWE having some mass releases and potentially some individuals being furloughed.
Yeah, this, by the way, is after everything that we've already stated about how wrestling is a vital, what's the word? Essential service.
Business.
Yeah, and therefore WWE are going to keep going for however longer, even if all their shows like Raw and SmackDown are behind closed doors in the Performance Center. They're going to keep shooting them. They're going to keep being live, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear what we've got to say next, you'll wonder quite how they're going to manage it without some serious burnout for the 10 people that are left.
Right. Now, a lot of these details that we're in regards to, some of them have been reported by WWE themselves, some of them by PWInsider.com and many other sources.
WrestlingNews.co, I believe, is another website that I've got the list on here. So yeah, it's been reported on many internet sources in the same way, which leads us to believe, while it's still perfectly possible that it's not true, the more sites that report it identically, the more valid it kind of becomes.
Yes, and what makes it even more annoying is, before we even get to the list, which is astronomical, there were just statements in regards to being sent out to workers, wrestlers, and everything, stating that there is an important meeting that is occurring, phone meeting that is occurring. Please be on standby in regards to it, just in case, for the outcome.
Yes.
And do you know how long the supposed big, massive, important business meeting was?
Now, are we talking ridiculously long or ridiculously short? Because my ridiculously long guess is 5.5 hours, your average WrestleMania these days. And my ridiculously short guess is as long as it took whichever suited backroom WWE Titan Towers official, however long it took them to read out the list of names and then say thank you, goodbye.
Nope.
Is it neither of those?
No. It was less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. As long as it took them to make their formal introductions, read out a list of
names,
names,
it wasn't.
Say thank you and goodbye.
It wasn't even that.
Really?
It was certain instructions it was just basically certain instructions that would be given to certain higher ups to do certain things, and that was it. Potentially, it was probably in regards to we're going to be sending you a list. Deal with it in this fashion. That's it.
Thank you. Goodbye. Wow. Okay, that's pretty.
That's not That's not to the workers and people who are being released directly. They weren't in on the call.
No, this was a call which may have taken place before the workers were told.
No, immediately after this.
Yep.
Certain phone calls were going out to workers, members of staff, and everything, basically stating certain things to them. Now, this is how quickly this information was getting passed to them, that WWE when putting certain announcements on the WWE website, couldn't even keep up with the information.
Oh, the amount of updates that the internet had of more names added, more names added, more names added.
And that people were finding out through Twitter and social media quicker than the actual WWE websites themselves.
Yes.
Right. I will be stating the following.
Yep.
A lot of these are, it's a big chunk of, this is a list of mass releases and some of them being furloughed. I have got some details on some of the furloughed ones, but some of them
we'll mention furloughed where we know for sure, but in all cases we're not 100% sure, so... Right, so... basically, WWE has released an unprecedentedly large number of both on-air and off-air, in-ring and otherwise talent.
Yeah.
Would you like... Sorry?
And more, potentially.
Yes. Would you like to read the list of main... I have a list here that's split into main roster, NXT and developmental, and backstage.
I don't think have that. I literally got it as wrestlers, producers, coaches, announcers, referees, creative, and other on-air talent.
I see. Well, if you read your list out, I will go through mine, and if I find any that you haven't got, unlikely, but it might happen, I'll add to it. But go for it. If you would like to take a deep breath,
bear in mind that this damn list took me over 40 minutes to write.
Yes, I haven't even tried to write it out or type it up because I have currently injured my hand, and so I could probably type it, but if I was to try and use a pen in the old-fashioned way and actually write it, it would finish my hand off. That's how long it is.
You'd be tapping out.
Essentially, yes, I would be right. No, I can take this no more. I must stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is in no special order. We're possibly going to throw in a tad bit of information in regards to our own views from time to time during this list.
But we will try and be as objective as possible.
As much as we can. This is going to be the big part where we're going to have the soapbox mostly now.
Oof, yeah, just a bit. Right. Shall we start with the main rosters / on-air talent as the...
Let's just get on to the wrestlers list. Get on to the wrestlers list, which is, I'll just hit it off straight away. Rusev Day's over, meaning that Rusev is gone. What the fuck are you thinking, WWE?
No idea. The guy is
genuinely
massively over, massively popular, and... Well, no, I just don't understand it.
Oh, wait. I know why. Because you knew his contract was due up and he wasn't going to be resigning. Anybody else who's on the roster currently right now that's actually in a storyline angle, instead of actually having Rusev appear again, you don't want to continue showing him off because you know he could potentially go elsewhere. That sounds familiar. Revolt anyone?
Yeah, no kidding. But right, we'll go through. We'll react when we've done as one afterwards. But do you want to just reel off the list of on-air talent?
Will do. But all I'll just state is, I know that one of the talents is going to be probably panicking right now because, but at the same time, he's probably thinking, if when my storyline does come to an end, am I done?
Oh, possibly. I thought you were just thinking because he's got kids.
Oh no, I was thinking more or less of who's currently managing Bobby Lashley.
Yes.
None other than Lana.
Yes. In light of the fact that Rusev is one of the first to be released, we'll believe it when we see it. But she's got to be on the endangered list.
Right. I'm just going to fire off the names in regards to it. If I have some additional details in regards to them, I'm just going to be stating them straight away as much as I can.
I'll keep as quiet as I can because we need to just get this out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the list. As I've already stated, Rusev, Kurt Angle, possibly furloughed. Zack Ryder, Rowan, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, which I believe AJ Styles is blaming himself in regards to, which was from an interview. Sarah Logan, who jobbed out to Shayna Baszler on her final night. EC3, Drake Maverick, who's got an emotional video of his response. Kurt Hawkins, Mike and Maria Kanellis, who Mark released a video statement stating how thankful he is. However, Maria is put out a statement on Instagram stating how she could potentially be upset, but is focusing on being a mum and recently, who just recently had a baby 9 weeks ago. Marshall 12, and congratulations.
Congratulations.
Heath Slater, No Way Jose, who was jobbed out to Lashley on his final night. Eric Young, Leo Rush, Primo, Epico. I believe her name is Deanna Purrazzo, who was her last match putting over Nia Jax on April 6th.
Who then was only recently signed to a full-time NXT contract, so that's got to hurt.
Pretty much. I believe that Dan Mather, also known as the Dorian Mack, has been released. MJ Jenkins, Alicia Mariano, who hasn't debuted on NXT TV, but has only been on NXT Live. I do apologise for butchering some of the names. I believe Alaska Jasic, who hasn't debuted on NXT TV yet, but only NXT
Alexander
Live.
Jaskic.
Okay. Nick Ogarelli.
I would imagine that's pronounced Ogarelli, but I'm not sure.
I think it is, yeah. Then you've got Miss Conti.
Let me do some of these. Tainara Conti, Dan
Please do. Wait. Before you get on to it, Conti was part of the Mae Young Classic, who was previously released over disagreements over money bookings, and was part of WrestleMania 34 Women's Battle Royal, but they sorted out the disagreements and then comes back, and gone
again.
She's
then back as part of NXT, only to be released again,
Cesar
Bononi.
Did you say Dan Mather?
Yeah.
We've covered that one.
All right. Mars Wang, who I believe was one of the Chinese superstars who was appearing on NXT live events, if not actually TV all that long. Tino Sabatelli, Mohammed Fahim, Marcos Gomez, Faisal Kurdi, Edgar Lopez, Hussein Aldegal, Yi Feng, who may or may not be known to some as Rocky, Cassius
Ohno, who was actually not even officially announced, but only a move to the alumni page was the only clue that people had.
Yeah.
But at the same time could possibly be furloughed due to be working backstage with talent. Yeah. Possibly.
Josiah Williams, who is an on-air digital talent.
Oh, no.
That might mean.
Hang on. I'll get to them, certainly. That's the wrestlers on my list anyway.
No, I've only read that one out because I wanted to ask you what exactly is an on-air digital talent. Does that mean someone that presents, comes on before a video on WWE.com and explains?
I'll mention in regards to Josiah Williams, which was another on-air talent. He was also known as Wrestle and Flow. He posted WWE themed remixes on YouTube, on-air social media, host in WWE Performance Center.
There you go. Then that's cool.
And then the other on-air talent I'll just mention, which was John Quastro, who was part of the 205 Live announce team as play-by-play commentator in February.
Okay.
And Kathy Campanelli, who was an interviewer.
There you go. Who is not on my list. That shows you how insane this is.
Right. Anyway, let's get over to the producers, shall we? Which most of the producers have been potentially furloughed.
Which means that they can be recalled once this is all over.
True, but some of the statements that I believe from Fit Finlay may say otherwise, potentially. As it's just stated, Fit Finlay, Shane Helms, who put out a tweet saying, I wish I would have picked up the phone call, answered that phone, and probably did a certain thing that a certain member of Crime Time did, and ignored it. Billy Kidman, Mike Rotunda, Pat Buck, Sean DeBari, Scott Armstrong, who was also a referee, Sarah Stock, Lance Storm, and this is the shock with Lance Storm. He had basically closed down his wrestling school to move over to become a producer for WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to hope that guy's been furloughed and they'll get him back as soon as they can, don't you?
But we hope so, because at the moment right now, if they don't, basically they've just gone,
Yeah, they've basically just gone. Sorry, what you've made us the sole money giver in your life, and we've kicked you to the curb. Yeah, okay, that's a bit
And on top
harsh.
of that, did WWE pick Lance Storm? Choose hire Lance Storm because in regards to having a training school that could potentially build up wrestlers, which could have been sent over to WWE, but could also go to other places as well.
Well, there is that, yes.
But anyway, let's continue on. Right, let's move on to coaches, which is none other than Serena Deeb, Kendo Kashin, Chris Guy, who has also been known as Ace Steel and was also the Donald Trump impersonator during the infamous intergender match against the Rosie O'Donnell impersonator. Announcers, which is Aiden English, who was also a wrestler, part of Rusev Day. Jerry Soto, who was part of the Spanish language announcer.
Part of the Spanish announce team.
Yeah. Then we're going to move on to referees. Mike Chioda.
Mike Chioda? Blimey, okay.
Is it Chioda? Chioda. Yes. My apologies for that. What's shocking with that is the fact that Mike has been with WWE for 31 years. He began his career with WWE in 1989. He was the referee who counted the 1-2-3 for the 1-2-3 kid against Razor Ramon.
Wow.
Right? Creative. Andrea Listenberger.
Who is, I've got on this list as well. I haven't got many of the ones you've got to now, but listed as a writer.
Now, what's shocking with this is the fact that you think, right, okay, she's a writer, we'll get rid of her, but she put out a statement and revealed what stories she wrote recently. Yeah, she was the creative writer who wrote the Otis and Mandy storyline up to WrestleMania and a bit after. But that could be possibly a furlough as well. But if it isn't, what the fuck?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Genuinely.
That is the definition of insanity. Right, and in case you haven't guessed, he's, what's that, 30, 40 names? I don't think he's finished yet.
No. I believe that so far, that is actually the list so far, because we've already mentioned the other on-air talent, and there's potentially many, many more. But anyway.
Well, that's it so far. Oh, hang on. Did we actually... I don't think any of the on this list at any point... Oh, no, you did mention... You did, I believe, mention Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. I just didn't hear you. I don't think.
I didn't say them together.
Ah, there you go. That's what it is.
Right. Now...
So that is a total of, I don't know, getting on for a Royal Rumble's worth of names.
If not more.
People from all walks of the company. Wow.
Yeah. Now, take into account what culture even fired some shots at WWE in regards to the statement. And do you know what the shots that they fired were?
I don't, but the good news is I think you're going to tell me.
Oh, yeah. Why don't we get rid of some wasteless talent who don't even appear on TV and do nothing on the shows and just basically make them redundant and basically either furlough or basically say, you sack, go home. But then again, they also still get money anyway because of which family they're part of. Oh, that was it. They were pointing fingers at Shane McMahon and certainly Stephanie McMahon.
Yes.
Now, in regards to this, other people who have been sitting there stating, they're scratching their head going, what the hell? Why has this many people been fired and, been releasing everything? Or utterly shocked. And yet one person points out one piece of talent who hasn't been released.
Yeah. Who?
Who hasn't been on screen for a while now. But is supposedly meant to be on the main roster.
Oh, you've got me racking my brains now.
And was known as a freak on NXT.
Hold on. Why can't I think of their name? No, just tell me.
Lars Sullivan.
Has not been released. Yeah, there's been no news either way yet. But, yeah, is Lars Sullivan 2020's JTG? Is he just going to hang in there for another couple of years doing nothing and still getting paid?
Oh, he hasn't picked up the phone yet.
I don't think that would stop in this case. I think they'd probably release him anyway and just send a text message or something, to be brutally honest. But yeah,
Nope,
that's bizarre.
I think they have to do it officially.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a strange one, but there's something
better
interesting I was going to say there.
Oh, better yet, they could always just do a CM Punk and fax it over on their wedding day.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. However, the point that I would like to make at this particular juncture, be warned, this is a soapbox moment. This is solely my opinion. It's not necessarily based on any fact. It's just the first thing that I thought when I heard this news. Hey, WWE, here's an idea. Instead of releasing 30 or 40 guys and girls who are either backstage people who basically haven't appeared on TV in months and therefore who are basically probably just getting their downside guarantees, which isn't much because they probably don't even have one. They're probably only paid on a per appearance basis. Yeah. You could probably have saved far more money and made far less impact on the state of the product in the following simple way. Here is the press release that I would have released if I was WWE. Due to lack of income, due to no crowds, due to the coronavirus presently, WWE has made the following budget trimming statement. Effective immediately, Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg have been released from their contracts. All payments for any appearances and any appearances they may have scheduled to anyone on a Legends contract has been suspended until further notice.
Or is on hold, potentially.
And anyone who is on the main roster who is not currently involved in a storyline has been furloughed but will be invited back when the time comes. There you go. That would save so much money. So much more money, just releasing everyone like Lesnar, like Goldberg, temporarily not paying the Legends, which is probably a blessing to them because they might need the money, but the Legends generally means they've finished their career, so they're all at least 50, which means making public appearances in this virus is not going to be a good idea, so keeping them at home is probably sensible.
Or they're or at the same time they are potentially already rich. They've already made their money at the same time.
Therefore, temporarily ceasing all Legends contracts with an option to reactivate them as soon as the financial situation restabilizes, and releasing all the top end part-time talent would probably have done the company's bottom line far more than releasing 30 or 40 backstage announcers and hand-to-mouth guys who probably can't afford to not have the work.
Possibly at the moment in time.
That was my immediate reaction, which
a lot
shared
of people,
with a
lot of people have been basically stating that their contracts exceed all most of these gentlemen's. Probably Kurt Angle being an exception. I believe a lot of the guys and people who have put out statements in regards to it have been more quite respectful. With
everyone who has been released or furloughed or whatever have pretty much towed a sensible party line and not rocked the boat.
With certain exceptions. Now, I know that the only person who's possibly hinted at possibly firing shots at WWE is probably Maria. But then again, yeah.
Who said she's more worried about looking after her kid?
It's basically just pointing out, she could be upset. Is the world fair? Is the world not fair? You're damn right, but I've got better things to do, like making sure food is on the table, and I've got the milk money for my children. Basically, which was sort of a bit of a shot, really. It comes across as a bit of a shot. Now, in regards to this, as I've already mentioned, probably Drake Maverick's video is heart-wrenching.
Absolutely.
Legitimately heart-wrenching. And a lot of the current wrestlers who are still there are upset as well, showing, my WWE, heartbroken WWE family. Even Charlotte Flair's heartbroken in regards to it, and even pointing out that quick broken heart as well in regards to what has been going on as well. which is absolutely devastating. At the same time, Rusev, who's just been released out of the job, has also basically turned around and said to certain people, anybody who's out of job, who's desperate in need of money, let me know, and I'll see if we can try and sort out some, sort of funding where we can help you out.
Well, it just goes to show, desperate times show who the genuinely sound people are.
Now, take into account, Rusev's just lost his job.
Yeah. To be fair, he's obviously, in that case, either a genuine good Samaritan who has friends who've got money who can help this out, or, and this is pure speculation on my part, but he's a modern-day Mick Foley. And he's literally been squirreling every single cent he's made away and not spending any of it. And so he feels he's in a position to help people out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. If it is, and he can help others out, great. But, like I said, he's a genuinely sound bloke by the sound of it. So good on him.
And at the same time, his wife is currently still employed by WWE at the moment, for now.
Yes. Ooh. I have just found an interesting little article. It'll only take me about a minute to get through it. For on WrestlingNews.co or possibly .co, I'm not sure which way you're supposed to say it, about how WWE could have completely avoided releasing anyone right now.
Oh. I'd say give it a minute. I'd say have a quick read of that while I make some additional information, because can you remember earlier during this episode where I turned around and stated the networks could potentially change their contracts if they pre-recorded?
Yes.
And that Vince McMahon's changed it to where everyone's got to be weekly live and everything?
Yes.
The networks have been in touch with Vince and stated it's okay, we're not going to change the contract if you do any additional pre-recorded episodes.
So basically, that Raw and SmackDown no longer have the obligation to be live anymore, which means if they've got any sense, they'll block film about 10 or 12 at a time and they won't be live.
And they might be doing some pre-recorded episodes now.
Which is, as we speak, getting them in ahead of time.
Now,
which is eminently sensible.
Now, a lot of people are stating, but then, wasn't that the whole reason that the firings were happening?
Well, yeah, you would have thought so. It was an attempt to save money. But having read this article is mere speculation as to something they could have done.
Yes, which is what I was just about to get to.
Yeah. Basically, WrestlingNews.co, not sure which way around it's supposed to go, has an article that says...
Before you continue, let me just state this. Still take it with a pinch of salt, because some of it's speculation, some of it is not all factual and full, and could be true. Still take it with a pinch of salt.
Oh, no. It's simply a statement of that WWE has done something, and if they hadn't done it, they might not have been able to fire everyone. They have done it, and they have fired everyone. That is a fact. But simply put, earlier this week, WWE has announced a dividend for its shareholders for the first quarter of 2020 of 12 cents per share. And that doesn't seem like much, I'm sure, but if you work out if you own, a couple shares, a couple hundred shares, it's not going to be a lot. But if you're the kind of person that owns, that goes, gee, I've got lots of money and I love wrestling, I can't buy into the company, so I'll buy 1 million shares. 1 million shares at 12 cents per share is a lot of cash.
Yeah.
So basically, having paid out the dividend for the first quarter of 2020 at 12 cents per share, according to Dave Meltzer, the quarterly dividend would cover everyone who got the amount of money that is paying out would cover everyone who got fired as far as talent and producers are covered for 4 years and 4 months. Or 2 years and 2 months if they'd only paid out half the dividend based on the current financial circumstances. And you'd only got 6 cents per share. Which does make you wonder.
And this is the point that I was just about to make. Rumour has it that has Vince done this to basically plump up the value of WWE and basically still point out, yes, even in this financial, in this pandemic, we're still turning a profit to our stock market, to our shareholders.
Without knowing for it's a fact, my opinion is almost certainly.
If it isn't, fine, I'm okay with it, but state why. Why has so many of them fired? Because that's a lot of people who have just gone out the job.
Exactly. And if it is apparently for no reason other than to appease shareholders, it does seem spectacularly petty and short-sighted.
It's not just petty, it's massively showing no loyalty to your workers.
Which you expect complete loyalty from. Its turnabout is apparently not fair play in this instance.
Basically, and this is where certain people are voicing their opinions about unionising.
Yes, which is becoming a stronger cry by the week, and this will only make the voice stronger further and quicker.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate. All I'm going to state is to a lot of people is in regards to a lot of these workers, please don't send out messages to them stating, why don't you go to AEW, why don't you go to New Japan, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? At this moment of time, they're probably not in the right space of mind and probably don't want to be getting pestered about other places at this moment in time. They're probably devastated by certain news being in regards to it and don't know exactly how to feel about it.
Quite.
All I will say is if they do decide to go to certain places, fine, but at the same time...
In the truest WWE sense, we wish them all the best in their endeavours, wherever they choose to go.
True, but at the same time, when this pandemic is over, if WWE do rehire them, fine. I know a lot of people are going to be saying, well, it's only because of the pandemic. It's only because of the pandemic. At the same time, it's going to be making them feel like trash because at this moment in time, when the chips were down and they really needed WWE have just sent them to the curb, essentially.
Yes.
Massively, essentially.
Which shows quite a...
yeah.
Well, not a less than perfect attitude by WWE, perhaps. And especially as if hinted by us a little while ago, it's all just to appease shareholders. Because I'm sorry, but frankly, in this day and age, if your only concern is keeping shareholders happy, you have your priorities completely arse about face. It should be about keeping the on-air talent and off-air talent that keep your company going and therefore mean that there is still a company for there to be shareholders in happy first. Surely.
Yes, and on top of that, what makes it even more devastating is if that was the case, then technically by what was stated in that that information released by the world famous Wrestling Reporter, is that they would still be classified as making profits even if they didn't actually make the releases, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So in actual fact, they were already in profit, so why have they...
Why? Yeah, other than to keep shareholders happy, why did they need to release anyone?
Another rumour potentially is the fact that the ratings for the network have been plummeting as well.
Well, that's not a rumour. They are a fraction of what they used to be.
They are massively a fraction of what they used to be. And a lot of people are stating, oh, it's because of the pandemic. And now a lot of people are saying, oh, wouldn't they want to be watching and aren't they classified as essential business now? So wouldn't that be basically meant to be drawing more money for Florida? No, that's not always the case, because what makes it even worse is people might be tuning out because they're probably sitting there thinking if we tune out, they could send them home and potentially save lives.
Absolutely, and that surely should be the first thing anyone's thinking about in these circumstances.
Now,
it apparently isn't.
It isn't. Now, we'll have to wait and see. What makes it even more devastating is the fact that the supposed this supposed decision took less than 5 minutes to make.
Yeah, that's really quite damning.
That is more than just damning. That is just absolutely devastating.
It's bordering on criminal, I've got to be honest.
It could be potentially considered criminal. And a lot of people's outlook in regards to the WWE, in regards to it, is probably massively changed. And
WWE have probably fallen quite spectacularly in many people's estimations, further even than they, you might have thought. And, I know some people who are not wrestling fans who wouldn't believe that was possible, but yeah, WWE has shot itself in the foot here.
Potentially, with a lot of... I know a lot of people can say, well, it's during the pandemic. At the same time, depending on what they do after, it could also possibly redeem some of the damage, but not all of it.
Yeah, it's...
Because as much as they could turn around and say, well, wrestlers are all rich and everything, now, okay, that's fine, but then at the same time, during a pandemic, we're going to release... And it makes this even more worse. That the
even worse, go on.
Yeah. Certain people who've got contracts, a la the OC is in Gallus and everything, they just recently re-signed a new contract. They may have actually been paid extra to possibly be leaving, to be allowed to be...
Because they're so close to the start of their
contract
that, it can't simply be...
Yeah.
They may have to have the entirety of it paid off. You know how, like, when you get a mobile phone?
Yeah.
And, you get, whatever it is, a 2-year contract, and if you want to get another phone at any point in that 2 years, you have to pay the remainder of it off.
Yeah.
Well, it might be the case that the entirety of the remainder of the contract might need to be paid off, which strikes me as... Well,
okay.
If that was the case, why on earth would you release them?
Right, but at the same time, they're probably just doing that just to cut off certain payments. Who knows? Basically, this is WWE's stockpiling method of stopping workers from going elsewhere.
Yes, essentially.
Backfiring.
Massively backfiring.
Backfiring.
It was their attempt to, like you say, basically be, oh, well, we've got 500 wrestlers on the books. We don't ever use more than about a third of them, but... At least they can't appear on another site.
Yeah, but it makes it even worse with this.
Go on.
They even... Right, some big chunk of the most of the major talent have still got their 90-day no contract, 90-day no clause contracts still
No
in place.
complete, yeah.
No complete... For some of the lesser-known ones, WWE's been so generous to lower it down to 30 days.
Oh, isn't that nice of them, eh?
Supposedly. Now, if that is
so
true,
that they can go and work for another company that isn't doing any wrestling at the moment because of, the pandemic.
Yeah.
Isn't that delightful?
And you pointed straight away what I was just about to refer to.
Yeah.
Now, take into account, I am actually a promoter myself.
No, really?
Early days.
Hardly ever mention it.
Early days of a promoter. And I'll be honest with you, I feel very lucky at the moment in time as such in regards to, in regards to certain dealings, in regards to certain overheads not having to be excessively paid. However, if there were certain people who needed my help as, certain talents who needed help or anything, I wouldn't be sitting there saying, I've got no obligation because they're an independent wrestler, to help them.
No, absolutely.
I wouldn't say that.
No, because, you're not... What's the word? Oh, yeah, an absolute bastard.
Or heartless.
Yeah, you're not.
And to take into account, this is only referring to myself. I am not stating that any other company or any other company owners in regards to what we have been discussing today is heartless or bastards either.
No, of course.
Neither is my colleague JB.
I'm not suggesting that either for 1 second. I'm simply saying that there are plenty of people who could quite easily use this as an opportunity to go, yeah, you know what? Buy and not pay anyone or do anything and be bastards. I'm not saying anyone has or
anyone that we have stated in this episode either.
Yeah, exactly.
But the point being is, it's just a very, very dark day at this moment in time in WWE.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people have stated in regards to the wrestling becoming essential in Florida. Now, it's not essential elsewhere, just in Florida. Now, essentially, AEW could potentially run certain episodes. However, statement was supposedly released by AEW stating that they are not going to be continuing on and any pre-recorded, doing any pre-recorded episodes unless they have to, which means they're probably going to be using their pre-recorded episodes until they run out. Which means they're basically making sure, keeping everyone home safe unless they have to get them in, they're not going to.
Which is the correct answer, let's be honest.
Right. That's the biggest chunk of this week's episode.
Yes, which we've actually got through in surprisingly swift amount of time. Yeah. I genuinely thought it would take a lot longer than that and be a lot more...
ranty?
Yeah, quite a lot more ranty, yes, but it turned out it wasn't, which is good.
I didn't as well, but the point being is, it's just... For me personally, this is my own view in regards to WWE. I assume that, with me being promoter and wrestler, in my mind, WWE is the place to be. WWE is the place to be. WWE is the place to be.
Be released from. Sorry, what?
At the moment, right now, in my own mind, it's bringing up many mixed feelings in regards to WWE.
Understandably.
Now, in regards to a lot of people saying, I'll quit the WWE Network, I'll quit the WWE Network, I'll quit the WWE Network.
That doesn't help anyone.
That doesn't help anyone.
What WWE needs right now is you to keep your network subscription, keep some money rolling in, and therefore there'll be a higher chance that the company is still going when all this ends and they attempt to, kick back into whatever passes for the new normal these days.
Yeah. And on top of that, it also means that if you have got any favourite wrestlers who are still there, they're more likely to still be there because if they are being funded.
Yes.
It's an awkward situation because a lot of people can sit around and say, oh no, I'm not going to pay them because I'm not going to be funding them. Yeah, that's fine, but at the same time, if WWE think that they're going to lose money, they could end up doing more cuts, which is not...
they're basically... It's a vicious circle, which we don't really want to be a part of.
As well, yeah. And the odd thing about it is if you are paying into it, are they going to potentially be bringing it back or not, or just thinking just lying in our pockets? That just brings a whole different mentality to that entire situation, and one that we are not going to be delving into at all.
No, because that is, as previously stated on this episode quite a lot, the phrase a nest of hornets, but that indeed is, and yeah, we don't want to go there. We don't even want to look at it, much less kick it. Thanks all the same.
However, in regards to this entire statement, I've got to give a massive shout out to one current member of the WWE roster right now.
Yeah.
For a post that went out recently. And it might be someone you might not think.
The Big Show.
No, it is none other than WWE Dolph Ziggler.
Ah, yes. All credit to the man who, may not be the first person you'd think of in situations like that, but who needs to be applauded for something he has
stated.
I was going to say allegedly, but no, something he's actually done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just that. He hasn't just stated it, he's actually followed it through.
Yeah.
Which is the fact that he actually went on on social media turn around and say all the guys who have just been basically released, they'll probably have some. If you want to provide some support for them, check out their merchandise. But most likely, and they even give a massive shout out to Pro Wrestling Tees,
Yeah.
stating buy their merch.
Yeah, because now, more than ever, when they're not getting any money for appearing on television, these guys need you to buy their T-shirts.
Yeah. And
Because it may be their only income stream. So
No.
good on Dolph for reminding us all that that is the case, and hopefully getting a few people who, like myself, who, and I believe you as well, Matt Burns, who are in essential jobs and who are still working and therefore have income which can be used for that sort of thing in this difficult time.
yeah. And now, then it's even more shocking.
Go on.
It doesn't just end there.
No. Oh no, I think you're now going to mention what I thought you were going to mention to begin with,
Go on.
about the one particular thing that Mr. Ziggler did.
Buying some t-shirts?
Yeah. Buying one particular wrestler's merch
Yeah.
to the tune of a couple of $100.
No kidding.
Yeah, no kidding. Thank you, Dolph. I do believe, if he wasn't before,
Yeah.
that wrestler in question's new favourite wrestler.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I believe that Ziggler's also paying tributes to Kurt Hawkins, well, former Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder as well, from time to time as well.
Yes. Which is
And-
impressive.
Yeah, and I've got to state, some of the new merchandise still does crack me up, and some of it just shows a bit of sympathy in regards to, because I believe the artist formerly known as Kurt Hawkins, also now known as Brian Myers again, had a t-shirt something along the lines of similar to Hurt Dawkins or Hurt Corkins or something like that.
Oh, I see.
And Zack Ryder, former Zack Ryder, has got a t-shirt that just literally in brighter, like bluish and purple text, not there.
Yeah.
It's just a massive shame in regards to the current situation. I hope that it all clears up, in the future in regards to it. But at this moment in time, I had to give a massive shout out to Dolph Ziggler.
Quite right, because, what with him doing the right thing in these difficult times, it's very easy not to do the wrong thing or not do it, but it's mostly easy to do nothing. It's kind of, you would think that more people would be doing the right thing, but since what the right thing is seems to be changing, let's just focus on the fact Ziggler did the right thing, and round of applause to him.
He didn't just do the right thing, and it's just something I've just quickly looked up, and I've only just absolutely realised this week's episode of SmackDown has just... I've just developed a more respect to Dolph Ziggler.
Okay, and why is that?
If you watch this week's episode of SmackDown during a certain segment, he's wearing a certain top in full view of the camera.
Okay. What would that be for those that...
Win or lose, never defeated. Now, who had a t-shirt like that?
Ooh, I wonder.
Zack Ryder and
Yes.
Kurt Hawkins.
Nice.
Respect.
Respect to Mr. Ziggler,
Yeah.
which was already through the roof, has found a way to,
Yeah.
come back down again, settle at a reasonable level, and then go through the roof a second time in a different place and make a second hole.
Yeah. I hope that, and this is my honest truth, if that guy does get released, I believe that WWE need to have someone's foot shoved up their rear end because, Dolph Ziggler is doing his best. And I know a lot of people can say, but he's just a spot monkey, he's just a bum mark, he just does this. Yes, he's very good at playing a villain on the show. But at the same time...
But that's just a character on TV.
But the writers are getting a bit confused, though, in regards to SmackDown. I'm just going to cover a quick little glimpse of a bit of SmackDown for three things.
Go on, then.
One is in regards to when Dolph turned up to Mandy Rose, and it looked like a bit of more of a genuine apology.
I see.
At the same time...
What, you mean like not well, I'm going to act this really badly and it's going to come off as much because it's only a storyline apology?
No.
You mean the genuine?
It looked genuine, as in... Could this be hinting at a face turn to then have Otis come running out? The only way they could have actually turned Ziggler is if Ziggler just walked out and said, whoa, I want nothing to do with this.
Yes.
Yeah. But they're still trying to portray him as a villain, but the words he was saying, all I'll just say to you is, watch it and just look at the words he's saying and how he's saying it. It comes across as genuine.
There you go.
At the same time, it also comes across as though it's just weird. It sort of hints, could Ziggler turn into a face?
Stranger things have happened.
But in that same segment...
Yeah.
Oh my God. Someone showed their talent.
And that's not a euphemism, ladies and gentlemen. At least I hope it's not.
No, it's not. I mean, their mic skills.
So someone who you would absolutely not expect to be in the position to... Or someone that you would not expect when they pick up a microphone to be... Wow, I'm impressed by what they said there, but apparently you were.
Oh, massively, on a massive scale. And believe me when I say this, all I'll say to you is, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville feud can go somewhere.
Oh, are we talking about one of those two?
Yeah.
As everyone's favourite Dolph Ziggler sympathiser got microphone skills we were not previously not aware of.
Pretty much. And which one do you think it is?
What? I think the words Dolph Ziggler sympathiser suggest it wasn't Mandy Rose.
It wasn't Mandy Rose.
No.
Sonya Deville.
Yeah.
Holy sh... But at the same time, even when, Sonya Deville hit Mandy, Dolph turned around and goes, what the hell are you doing? Which is sort of hinting, could he turn...
Yeah, the indication, that he's perhaps...
And then when Otis comes out, it's more like he's been obligated to brawl with him, or...
Yeah.
It would have made more sense if he just let him go, whoa, I've got nothing to do with this, big man.
Yeah.
If they are going to turn him. But if they're doing it slowly, it would have been better if he just... It's weird, because then when they had him walk out, they had him run back in to try and attack again, and it didn't work. It's like, you give him mixed signals, WB. It's just...
Yeah. We understand the concept of you like grey areas, but in this particular instance, it's not overly helpful.
It's not, because you're pulling people one way and then pulling them another. It's like... But the promo that Sonya Deville cut... Holy shit!
Was... Wow, so there you go.
That's the only words I can say. Give her a mic more often, baby.
Well, there you go.
I have never seen a heel rip up her face so effortlessly and just... Oh my God, it's just the words that she's coming out. She literally turned around to Mandy Rose and just turned around and says, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not just some cheap blonde-haired bimbo.
Ooh.
Right.
Nice.
No, but at first, it looked like a genuine apology. You're not even giving me the time to explain myself. You're not going to give me time. And now she's trying to give a heart of health. You just see her flip the switch. And the way what makes it even better is it's not just in her vocals. The promo's good. Her facial expressions. It's just
Could this be the breakout moment?
yeah. Now take into account how quickly did I just say that?
What do you mean? How quickly?
Instead of me sitting there saying, "Oh, it could be,"
You're
A breakout.
like, fairly certain it is.
yeah,
Cool. Well, good, because WWE,
it was.
especially
It
now,
literally
needs.
invested me into Mandy and Sonya Deville storyline instantly.
It
So take
suddenly
two.
means
So take into
that you
account.
care.
Take into account. This was originally Dolph and Otis. This is just switched that dynamic shift into. I thought Otis and Ziggler was going to be a bit of an interesting, Otis Mania. This
Yeah.
could be a potential way of making, more likely point out a future female star and catapult her into title picture. And if it doesn't, then WWE will have dropped the damn fucking ball with this one.
Well, yeah, wouldn't be the first time, but let's hope they.
But all I'll say to you is the promo, I highly recommend it. Watch, you can even actually see it on WWE or, on YouTube. But believe me, she looked like she was heartfelt apologetic to Mandy Rose. I'm your best friend, and then just switches. It's almost like switching on a light switch. Just how quick of a change
Nice.
it is,
Pretty
and
cool.
it's just
Well,
The
then
only
that's
way-
good news, yeah.
the only way they could have literally done that. It was almost like a pipe bomb. It was almost like a mic drop there and then. Done.
Impressive.
It was just promo was absolutely effortless. Need more of that immediately on my TV.
More of that, please, WWE. Thank you.
Please, in regards to that. That's a massive up in regards to WWE for this week. But, one of the rare few ups.
Yeah, in a difficult week, it's always nice to have a silver lining to what's otherwise been quite a cloudy week.
Yeah. Now, let's move on to the last piece of information, which is in regards to, well, actually, I've got to point out another thing, another spoiler, and I apologise for this. WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
Currently held by Miz and...
Wrong.
Well, you wouldn't let me finish, would you? I was going to say currently held
Sorry.
by Miz and Morrison the last time I heard.
Wrong.
Ooh, off-air switch or on-air switch?
On air switch on SmackDown.
Ooh.
Yeah, can you remember that we ended up having a rematch of WrestleMania?
Was it actually a tag team match this time?
Nope. Just removed the ladder.
Oh,
And
okay.
this time, it's the other partners in the match.
So that would be interchangeable Uso B, Big
Is it
E,
Jimmy?
and The Miz.
Yes.
Come on, let's be honest. The only people who can actually tell which Uso is which are the Usos themselves and their close family.
Jimmy and Jay.
Yeah.
I believe it was, I think.
Yeah, nobody knows which one's which, apart from them and their very close family.
But anyway,
Let's
the point.
be honest. But anyway,
the point-
anyway
the point-
it was
the-
a singles match and there was no ladder this time.
Triple threat. Triple threat.
Sorry, yeah, a one-on-one triple threat match, not a tag
One
team
on,
match.
a one-on-one. Triple
Yeah.
threat, yeah.
The point I was trying to make is not
Yeah.
a tag team match. Yeah.
And your new WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
For now,
Yes.
the 8th time.
Yep.
Yes. Wow.
However, there was another segment in regards to it that I thought was interesting.
And that was
The mysterious gentleman who revealed to Mandy Rose what was going on made a reappearance.
Oh, the person who's responsible for playing the footage of.
Sonya Deville and Dolph Ziggler
Interesting.
made a reappearance and stated,
Do we now know who this individual is?
"No, we still don't."
Okay. But they made some more proclamations.
They made a very serious proclamation stating, showing a video of the Usos, the New Day, Miz and Morrison, Twisted Bliss, Alexa Bliss and, Nikki Cross, and turned around and stated, some people keep their friends close, but their enemies closer. The truth will be revealed. Hinting that one of them tag teams could be potentially breaking up.
They probably will be. But interesting that they decided to tease it rather than just do it and annoy everybody.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's just interesting because a lot of people are going to be instantly heading down the simple route. A lot of people are going to be probably saying, it's going to be the easy one. You could say Miz Morris because he just lost the tag team titles. It may not be.
Basically never certain anymore. They could go down the simple route. They may not.
It could be Twisted Bliss splitting up. It could even be the New Day. That'd be a shock.
I'm thinking not, but, stranger things have happened.
True. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we know that Braun Strowman's, number one contender for his title already.
We do?
Yep. Bray Wyatt.
Ooh, fun.
Notice the words I said there.
Yes, you said you did not add 2 other words to that.
Correct. But he is playing psychological games with Braun.
Of course he is.
Because on a Moment of Bliss, there was a present that Braun thought was sent by Alexa, and Alexa just goes, no, it's not. It's like, of course. And then referenced, him teaming with her on mixed tag. And then revealed it was Braun's old black sheep mask. Yeah. And then the image of him wearing it popped up. It's like, Strowman stood up. It's like, Strowman cuts a promo stating, Bray may want him to remember, his old past, but he's better for it now. So we've got a potential feud. But anyway, last piece of information, because I know we've gone far longer than what we did on that segment, is in regards to Money in the Bank, which is both Money in the Bank matches are going to be very, very interesting.
Because of a certain taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah. And this concept has actually got me fucking excited for Money in the Bank.
It's ever so slightly worrying me because...
It's worrying me because of the current situation, but at the same time, the idea of it, fucking genius.
Well, the idea, the first 3 words the first 6 words that came to my head when you said it.
Go on.
And that made me worry a little bit.
Go on.
Ready to Rumble triple decker cage.
It's not that bad.
No. The thing is, it's not going to be that bad. But what the idea is did make me think of that, and that is slightly worrying because it's a potentially brilliant concept, but
the idea.
Unfortunately, my wrestling brain seems to be hardwired to think the worst of everything.
I get what you mean, but I've got some other alternatives. The reason why it can go wrong, but I'm looking forward to seeing the idea play out.
Yes.
The idea being is that the match is going to take place at WWE headquarters
in Stamford, Connecticut.
Correct. They're going to have to fight from floor 1, from the ground floor, all the way to the top.
To the top floor of the building.
To the roof.
Wow, okay.
To get in the ring with a ladder.
Hang on, there's going to be a ring on the roof of Titan Towers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're going to have to get a ladder to climb up and retrieve the Money in the Bank case.
Hang on, no. So it's going to be in the top floor of the building.
It's going to be on the roof of the building.
But no, okay, sorry. Just slight flaw here.
Yeah?
if it's on the roof of the building,
Yeah.
what have they hung the belts from, or the briefcase?
A
If they're
special
outdoors and
a
it's in the roof.
special rig and
Right.
potentially got some cranes.
Right. Okay, because I was just thinking the whole on the roof that you can't hang a hook with a briefcase on it from
Yeah.
the sky.
Yeah. But anyway,
You
the
can't
idea
just
being
wait until a cloud comes past and hang it off and hope it stays there.
the idea being is the slogan is climb the corporate ladder.
I see what they did there. In which case, I hope that nobody who has ever had a world title shot before are the only people in the matches.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Massively interesting. Now,
But yeah, insofar as we're a little sceptical that Money in the Bank is still going ahead,
I know that
seems
Nia,
like a sensible idea.
I believe Nia Jax is one participant, Shayna Baszler is another, and there is a third woman that's involved. But the men involved, I know MVP is a possibility. There's also Rey Mysterio, but at the moment, the main contender for Drew's title for Money in the Bank is none other than Seth Rollins.
I see. So, hang on. Is there going to be just 2 Money in the Bank matches? One for women and one for men? Who can
looks
then
like
cash
it.
in for which? Who can then Royal Rumble style cash it in for whichever title is relevant
I
to
think
them?
so. Yes.
Yeah, because otherwise 4 does strike me as ever so slight overkill.
Yeah, just a little bit. But anyway, especially
Yeah.
with the idea of how big it's going to be, it'd be overkill.
It's not actually, TNA lockdown. We're not going to have every single match be a Money in the Bank match because that would be silly.
Correct, but it's still an interesting idea regardless of it. I'm looking forward to it, but it's just, we'll have to wait and see.
Sounds good, but we need to wrap up because
I was just about to state that is the last piece of information that we are basically going to be talking about, and I'm now going to go straight into the plugs now in regards to this week's episode.
which I'll let you do as quickly as possible with as little interference as I can. So away you go.
Correct. Before we get on to it, I just want to say, if you are still listening, thank you very much for listening to this episode. Yes, we have had a lot of bad on this week's episode, but we've had plenty of good. And also point out, there's also some interesting things that you may want to know about, is the fact that I've actually made some guest appearances recently.
I assume that you can mention them as part of the plugs.
Potentially, but I'm just going to give them a shout out now.
Okay, okay. In that case, go first by all means. But do that and then do the plugs. And if you need me, give me a shout. I'll be here, but you don't.
Oh,
really need
no.
me.
I'll be mentioning them within the plugs because I've got to show some massive love for certain people. But anyway, let's get on to the plugs now. Please check out UKWA, also known as UK Wrestling Alliance. We'd massively appreciate that, as that is the wrestling company that I'm currently running with a fellow business partner. And on top of that, we also recommend you check out photography. For all photography needs, check out Tony Knox, Jessica Turbo Photography, Kerry Swift Photography. They do absolutely amazing work. Please check out for any videography needs to check out BA Productions and SW Video. They do absolutely phenomenal work for low prices. We of course also recommend you check out charitable companies and charity organisations, like Change of Health and Wellbeing, Change of Recovery Radio, Mind, Messy for Mind, Donna Louise Hospice Care for Children and Young People, Cancer Research UK, because all the funding, and of course if you can donate to the NHS in any way and also help provide certain foods for the needy and care workers, it would be massively appreciative, because the donations could actually prove useful and could end up saving lives. And the information that some of these websites do actually also additionally provide could prove massively useful and could end up helping someone you never know. We also recommend you check out the light side of wrestling by checking out none other than Botchamania, You're Welcome Matthew, WrestleCrap, You're Welcome RD Reynolds, and of course OSW Review. We of course also recommend you check out Paul or Pass Radio Show, hosted by none other than Magic Mark Adams. But Magic Mark Adams doesn't only host the Paul or Pass Radio Show. He also has a temporary podcast as well, which is called Don't Say the C Word. And he doesn't mean that in the sense of a certain naughty word. He means that in the sense of do not mention COVID-19 or coronavirus on any episodes. And they have special guests on there he's doing an episode almost every day where they are talking all things non-COVID-19 and non-coronavirus and has a different subject in regards to it. Yes, it does. There is a bit of certain rules being broken on there because, yes, I am called Matt Burns on the episode, but also my real name is also shown on there as well and is used more than once. But let me just state, the episode I ended up doing with Mark was very close to the heart, and most likely a subject that's going to be re-brought up on a future episode of TBT Games section. Additionally, I of course also recommend you check out We the Independent podcast, which is We the Independents with an IE, not a Y, as they are make groundbreaking certain interviews and are currently at the moment in time probably trying to unionize a certain workforce that has just been heavily impacted that we've already covered in today's episode. We, of course, also recommend you check out Think Wrestling, especially the Talking Wrestling interviews and everything on there, which is hosted by none other than Tom Baker. We, of course, also recommend you check out Train Pop Culture as well, which is currently on a small hiatus at the moment in time, from what I've gathered. But I do recommend you check them out, and hopefully when they do make a return, I'll make an announcement of when they are back, as they are absolutely great people who I know, and they always have something interesting to discuss. I, of course, also recommend you check out the Future podcast, which is hosted by none other than Phil Woodvine, who is the promoter and owner of Pro Wrestling For You. I wonder, and I say this because, yes, I have been a guest on one of the episodes on there myself. I do recommend you check it out. It is massively interesting. I believe it's something along the line, I'm just trying to remember the full name of the actual podcast episode, but it involves Snap, Crackle, and Pop, potentially.
Okay.
Snap, Crackle, and Wrist Locks, potentially, but I'd recommend you check that out. I, of course, also recommend you check out none other than Hatred Theory. Absolutely, what a great way to expel some certain hatred, but let me just state this for the record. Some of the tone of languages on the episodes, may be unsuitable for younger listeners.
Yeah, we give out warnings, and we occasionally use bad language, but wow. Yeah, similar ones for them, definitely.
And certain, no, it's not similar, definitely. Definitely. However, I did get a bit of a shout out, but I will just state as they didn't use my wrestling name. They actually used my real name and then tried to pronounce my surname. My real life surname was absolutely fucking hilarious.
Hashtag epic fail.
Oh no. Hashtag epically funny. I was crying on the floor.
Well, that's good. That's good.
And of course, at the moment in time, the next shout out is to Pabaluni, who's currently probably on hold due to the current ongoing situation. But do check them out. Show some love for them. And we, of course, also recommend you check out Kayfabe Music, because they are actually they do the current theme music for The Burning Truth. They've also done some interest music for myself. And they have also been showcasing some new original tracks that is up for people to buy, and they do phenomenal work. Recommend check them out. Of course, I also recommend you check out none other than Turnbuckle TV at this moment in time. If you are looking for a source of keeping yourself busy or looking for a source of wrestling.
There's more than enough on there. What are they now? Getting on for 40 promotions?
40 promotions, and are even now officially linked to Wrestle Talk TV.
Which means, even though there's nothing being added in the form of new shows right about now, I mean, wrestling pay-per-views, there is still Wrestle Talk TV. There's still people talking about it. And don't forget, there's all the stuff that's already been put on there that nothing says you can't pick a promotion you'd never previously heard of and indulge in that. Watch some back episodes and listen to the Wrestle Talk stuff as well.
And they've also got a podcast on there as well. So in a way, there is some actual new content being added on there through audio, or or some back catalogue stuff as well. I recommend you check it out because yes, UKDA is on there, but believe me, if you want to massively support your some local promotions on there, that is a good way to do it. We of course also recommend you check out some local promotions, show some love, especially on their social media and potentially on their merchandise page if you want to help support them, which is none other than Future Championship Wrestling, United Wrestling, Pro Wrestling for You, Future Shock Wrestling, Academy Pro Wrestling, Fallen Star Wrestling, Venom Wrestling Federation, Slam Wrestling, Wolf and Pro Wrestling, Preston City Wrestling, the Barracks Wrestling.
Yeah, ICW, that's another one.
And any others?
PBW, I think LDN Wrestling is still going.
Yeah.
Progress.
And
many
more. And just in case if you don't know if there is any more, or if you want to know if you have got any local promotions, you can actually check it out on Babyface Wrestling app, which is on your phone, for the low price of nothing at all. And you can potentially follow... What?
I was going to say, for a really annoying price of, I believe, what Booker T refers to as $3.99.
It's free, but basically all I'll just state is this. It is an absolute great app for following wrestlers and also wrestling companies. And I'm so glad that's something that hasn't been referenced yet. But anyway,
I'll follow Matt Burns, hint, hint.
And UKDA. I'm surprised something hasn't been referenced yet so far. But anyway, I also recommend you check out the Burning Truth website, which is, of course, www.theburningtruthuk.com. Yes, you know what's on there. You can listen to past episodes of us, and as such, potentially we are hoping to get some potential new content on there eventually. But I will state, fingers crossed. But as you stated, we also recommend you just state out that external links on the links page we cannot be held responsible for, as we do not have control over what they have on their
websites. Yep.
Correct. We, of course, also recommend you check out our Facebook page, our Twitter page, YouTube, Instagram, and yes, even our Spreaker page as well, because that's probably where this is how we're actually able to do this episode. Yes, we do have past episodes on Spotify and many other external sources, but at the moment, it is currently just past episodes. That'll probably be the last time I'll probably mention Spotify for the time being until we get them regularly updated, be able to get them regularly updated, but that is being currently investigated at the moment in time.
Fair enough.
So with that...
The penny's just dropped. It's all right. I wasn't sure what you meant earlier.
What do you mean?
Because I mentioned Booker T, isn't it?
No idea what you're on about.
No idea what you're on about. I'm mentioning the Room of Candles this week because we're trying to do a serious episode. We're trying to do a serious episode. I wasn't going to mention it.
You had to mention it, didn't you? Damn. I almost made it.
I'm not mentioning the Room of Candles this week. It's a serious episode about coronavirus and its effects.
God damn it.
Serious. No candles.
Damn it. But anyway, that is
so close. So close.
So close, I know. That's a wrap up for this week.
Thank you very much for listening.
But before we go, we always recommend you stay safe. And just to point out, in regards to when we do say stay well, stay safe, we don't just mean it physically, we also mean it mentally, because mental health is a massively important. And just in case, if you are currently struggling, and everything, just know this: it is okay to be not okay, but we do recommend you do seek help as soon as you are able to. If possible, and just know that asking for help isn't a weakness, and you could end up finding out that the others may already know that you're in a bit of a bad situation, but are waiting for you to inform them that waiting for you to state
don't want to jump to conclusions on your behalf,
as such, and want you to come to them, possibly come to them when you're ready. But at the same time, you could also find out that you're more cared for, more loved than you could ever know, either through family, friends, and colleagues. And with that, I'm just going to state for this week. So please, everybody, stay well, stay safe. We'll hopefully catch you on the next episode. And until then, please check out your local wrestling promotions on their social media, and also check out on family, friends, and any colleagues or anyone you haven't been in touch with in a long time. Just give them a quick call. You never know, it could end up making their day. So until then, we'll catch you on the next episode. Catch you later.
Thanks for listening. Good night.